Hello and welcome to Bristol Sport TV from Ashton Gates Sports Bar. In the next 10 minutes we'll bring you all you need to know about this weekend's sporting action. Plus we've got a special tour of the West Stand for you, so do stay with us for that. But first, it has been a big week for City. Steve Cottrell relieved of his duties, new signings, John Pemberton and Wade Elliott masterminded a victory over top of the table Middlesbrough, and a new Chief Operating Officer for football to boot. And I'm pleased to say that Mark Ashton joins me here. Welcome and welcome to the group.
Thank you, it's good to be back.
Yes, well it is a return for you as well. Was that always part of the plan?
No, I'd have to say it wasn't part of the long-term plan. Yeah, I was here in, I think it was about 2012, working with Steve Lansdowne and the board and the then manager Derek McInnes. I went away, worked on some other projects, spent just about 2 years at Oxford United Football Club, but was delighted to receive the call from the board to ask if I'd come back as Chief Operating Officer here at Ashton Gate.
Now, when you were here before, you were sort of firmly focused almost on academy and the development side of it. Is that something that this new role is going to encompass as well? Because I know it's sort of a key part of the overall strategy.
Yeah, I think it's really nice, and I think the real positive for me in this role is that I don't have to concern myself with the commercial, the stadium and the operational piece of running a football club, because that sits firmly with Bristol Sport. What I have to look after as Chief Operating Officer is purely the football department. So that's recruitment, the manager or head coach will report directly to me, the academy, the training ground, transfers, everything that's football related will report directly into me, which gives me a very clear focus.
Head coach, what do we read into that? It isn't a manager.
Again, I wouldn't get too tied up in titles. I think if you look at the type of head coaches that I've recruited in the past, I like the title head coach because I like to give the person real specific focus on their job, simply in the same way that I have. It's a role that I've created that has worked well at other clubs for me in the past, and I think it's something we'd like to see put in place here and continue here at Ashton Gate with that very specific head coach role.
Now, you've talked about your previous at Oxford United, and there has been a lot of speculation over whether Appleton or not would follow you here, and I know that you very clearly come out and said, no, that isn't the case. Yeah,
it's a logical question. People will put two and two together and come to that position, but Michael is clearly contracted at Oxford United. I think he's a very talented young up-and-coming head coach, and I've worked with him very well, but it's about fit, and I don't think that would be the right fit for us now here at Bristol City Football Club. So no, I can put a line under that one and say that's not going to happen.
Obviously you have a very clear idea of the DNA of what the new management will entail. But of course, John Pemberton and Wade Elliott, they've done a fantastic job stepping in quite difficult circumstances.
They've done a very good job. You know, they put their arms around it very quickly, put their own stamp on it very quickly, and I've been very impressed with what I've seen. You know, and I've simply said specifically to John, give me a headache. Go and win some football matches. So I'm delighted he's here and he's in charge. He's a very good coach, he's a very good man, and I'm sure he'll do a good job. Yeah,
I know Saturday was just such fantastic atmosphere, wasn't it? I mean, it was the loudest, I think, well, it's certainly the loudest I've heard it all season.
It was a bit special, particularly those last 5 minutes. But that's important as well. The fan base here, we all know, is absolutely fantastic, and we saw the impact that can have in the last 5 or 10 minutes of the game against Middlesbrough. And you know, that's worth points on the board each season to us. You know, I think the whole coaching staff and the club would like to thank the fans for the fantastic support they gave on Saturday, and just ask them to keep reproducing that because it's so important.
Yeah, it is so special, isn't it? And of course they had the game against West Brom, FA Cup. It was 1-0 defeat. It was difficult, but it was still a good performance. And I know obviously probably difficult for you as a former West Brom goalkeeper.
A very poor West Brom goalkeeper. Let's be clear on that. No, it was. I think it was. It was a solid, good performance, and on the night I think the result could have gone either way. It's a difficult one because the Cup is very important to us, and you know, we must respect the FA Cup. However, I think we all know that our real priority is Leeds on Saturday. John made some changes in that game, which is understandable. But you know, we disappointed with the result, but I think the performance was very pleasing, and we refocused very quickly now to go to Ellen Road, and we need to go there and do a job.
Yeah, it is evident that the selection was made sort of with one eye on Leeds, and respectful of John for that, but probably most pleasingly, 7 academy players in the team.
It's fantastic, because what we want to build here is not just success, we want to build sustainable success, and in doing that we have to have the right academy, we have to have the right recruitment at all levels, and we need to have a head coach who absolutely buys into that, because at the end of the day, if the head coach does not buy into the academy, what's the point of having it? Because he won't play the boys. That's absolutely key, and again, that's why I was so delighted particularly on Saturday and the West Brom game, to see so many of our academy graduates in the team.
Yeah. Okay, well, Mark, thank you very much for coming. I know you are a busy man, and I hopefully we'll get you back on the show later on.
Thank you.
Mark, thanks very much. Well, just a reminder, of course, City travel to Elland Road to take on Leeds this weekend, but they are back in action here at Ashton Gate the following Saturday as they take on 8th placed Birmingham. Kick-off at 3 o'clock and tickets are available now on the website. Well, while City have been busy with signings this week, their female counterparts have also had 3 players commit their futures to the club. Frankie Brown, Hannah Reid and Tatiana Pinto have all signed new contracts. Willie Kirk spoke of his delight that the 3 players have re-signed for the club, saying it was great to be able to confirm 3 players from last year's squad committing their immediate future to the club. Well, it's been a big couple of weeks for basketball nationally after a sellout crowd attended the O2 for the NBA London game between the Toronto Raptors and the Orlando Magic. That was followed by the BBL Cup final at the Barclaycard Indoor Arena. 10,000 fans packed in there to witness a whole afternoon of basketball, which started with the women's BBL Trophy final, a slam dunk competition, and then the men's event, as Joel Osborne reports.
Over 10,000 fans watched the Newcastle Eagles retain the BBL Cup in Birmingham on Sunday afternoon, with an added 15,000 watching live at home on skysports.com. The Eagles trailed the Leicester Riders by as many as 14 points in the third quarter before Ramon Fletcher led the comeback to see Newcastle claim their 23rd major trophy in franchise history. The game was one of 4 BBL events to be streamed live on skysports.com throughout January, with the hope of securing a long-term television deal to catapult basketball back into the mainstream of British sports. Elsewhere in the BBL, the Bristol Flyers took the Worcester Wolves to overtime in their first round exit of the BBL trophy, but Flyers guard Roy Owen hopes to eventually compete with the likes of Newcastle and Leicester on the big stage.
We're selling out wise at the moment, which is great to see, but eventually we want to take all our Flyers fans down to one of these big arenas and compete for a cup final and eventually, win trophies and be one of those teams like Leicester and like Newcastle where they're established over a long period of time.
The team travel north this weekend to take on the Glasgow Rocks, with the next home game being against Leeds Force on Saturday, January 30th. Tickets on sale now at bristolflyers.co.uk.
Well, Bristol Rugby kept their hopes of B&I Cup qualification alive after a tight win over Scarlets on Sunday. Here's Tom Vaux with a roundup.
The recent weather almost caused Bristol's final away game in the group stages of the B&I Cup to be abandoned, but after some last-minute planning, Scarlets found themselves jumping on a bus to Bristol as Clifton RFC hosted the match at Bristol's training base. 2 tries from the away side, coupled with a convincing kicking display from Matthew Morgan, were enough to seal the game with a 1-point win. The final score 16 points to 17. Backs and skills coach Matt Sherratt spoke following the match.
We put some nice phases together, but then probably come the crucial ruck or the crucial pass. We either made a mistake or, as you saw, Scarlett's very enthusiastic at the breakdown. They turn us over and really take our chances.
Ulster are the visitors to Ashton Gate this weekend and will look to build on their convincing victory over Bristol at Ravenhill last year. A must-win game for the home side, so it's sure to be a feisty one. And finally, Matthew Morgan has earned a spot in Warren Gatland's 37-man training squad ahead of this year's RBS Six Nations. He spoke to us shortly after hearing the good news.
Yeah, I'm over the moon, to be honest. I didn't really expect it, but yeah, I'm chuffed a bit, to be fair, so it's nice to be in the squad.
And obviously your performances have been recognised to be included.
Yeah, so obviously hopefully I could just go in now and do another good job and work hard and fight for a place in the squad.
And when you look back at the World Cup, were you pleased with what happened out there as well, with Wales as well?
Yeah, obviously as a whole it was a good experience for me, but as a team it was probably quite disappointing because I thought we could have got further than what we did. But yeah, obviously now into Six Nations, so we'll see what happens.
And what's your expectations from the Six Nations?
Grand Slam.
High hopes there for Matthew Morgan. Of course, we wish him all the very best for that Six Nations campaign. And just a reminder, Bristol Rugby return to Ashton Gate here. They play Ulster in the B&I Cup this Friday evening. Kick-off at 7:45. Tickets available now on the website. Well, Bristol Ladies rounded off their RFU Premiership campaign by winning the first ever Women's Shield. Bristol lost out in place in the top 4 with a defeat to Worcester, but bounced back to beat Aylesford in the Shield final at the Portway. The ladies will now turn their attentions to the Cup, which gets underway later this month. Well, time for a look at the stadium build, and earlier this week I donned my hard hat for a tour of the West Stand. Mike Henderson from McLaughlin Harvey guided me round and talked me through the latest developments. Okay, Mike, so we're inside on the second floor of the West Stand. Just talk us through some of these changes, because for one, we've got a floor in place.
Yeah, there's big changes over the last few months. So now we've got the main structure in place, all the floor slabs are in place. And now we're really moving on to changing the building from the inside. So in here we can probably see now the main ventilation ductwork going in, the main electrical containment is going in, and really you can see where the new movable walls will go into the banqueting hall, which will split it into 3 sections.
You talk about this banqueting hall, I mean it is going to be enormous, isn't it? But this ability to be able to partition it off.
Yeah, if you'd be familiar with the Heineken Lounge, which we've already completed in the first phase, so this is going to be a much bigger version of that. A lot of the finishes will be exactly the same, and it'll be split into 3 sections, so that there can be 3 different functions on at any one time. So a very useful place for the club to have. And for the different types of hospitality that they'll be offering within this area.
Well, just before we go, a reminder of our big sports breakfast, which is looming at the end of the month, Friday, January the 29th, 8 till 10 in the morning. We'll be welcoming the world's greatest living explorer, Sir Ranulph Fiennes, here. Lansdowne Club members, don't forget, you get the very first one free. Non-members, just go to the website to purchase your ticket. Well, speaking of the website, we have just launched a new programme aimed at our younger viewers. And here's Georgia Stone to tell you more.
Ever fancied having a go at being a sports reporter and getting the inside scoop on all the action? Well, now's your chance. Bristol Sport Kids TV is coming soon, and we thought who better to interview our Bristol Sport stars than you, our junior fans. So to be in with a chance, check out our website for all the details, and good luck!
Well, I hope you've enjoyed the programme. Don't forget, of course, you can always follow us on Twitter at Bristol_sport is the handle, and our website as ever for the first place for news on our group of teams. Hope you've enjoyed the programme. Look forward to seeing you next week. In the meantime, have a great weekend of Bristol Sport.